being recorded. Please go ahead and leave the meeting and we'll post this training on our website. Okay, can everyone see my screen? It should be the SIPS product registration system.
Yep, I can see Sam.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to start by going over some of the transactions that you can submit through the license. So if you didn't attend the previous training, this is what your SIPS Plus registration system will look like when you get logged in. We're going to go ahead and navigate to the license screen here. And here, if you're attached to multiple licenses will show. For test purposes, we just have this one license. So you're going to select the license that you're going to submit the transaction for. So I'm going to select this Test Inc. And it's going to show the license details screen. I'm going to choose this drop down here on the right-hand side and select Submit a Request. And when Submit a Request is selected, you're going to have a few different options in this drop down. You're going to have ADA vendor change, and vendor name change. We're going to go ahead and start with the ADA vendor change. So we'll select that and then select Next. All right, so here you're going to choose the liquor code that you would like to submit the change for. You can search in this by liquor code, brand name, or cola. So I'm just going to choose the very first one and select Next. All right, so it's going to automatically fill in some information for you. It'll fill in the brand name, bottle size, vendor, and new license number. You're going to select the new ADA that you want to transfer it to. The previous ADA, so currently it's with General, we're going to choose that we're going to transfer it to Imperial. And we'll scroll down. It's going to automatically fill in that effective date for you. You can put in a description here, anything that you need the MLCC to know. For testing purposes, I'll just put test. And then I'll select submit. You're going to attest that the information that you entered is accurate and select submit for approval. And now you can see here that the transaction is successfully submitted to the MLCC for review. Do you have any questions on the ADA vendor change process?
In general, is there a way to like undo if you make a mistake or submit something inaccurately?
You can select the edit button here.
It's not actually going to allow you to edit something that has already been submitted to the MLCC. What I would suggest doing is either giving them a call or Sam, if you go back out to the license, in your options where you would you can go ahead and hit send email. So this would be my suggestion. My suggestion would be if you accidentally hit something and you submit it and you're like, oh my goodness, like this is just, not what I expected. You can go ahead and choose any of these topics that we have. So if you've just done an ADA or ADA vendor change, you can go ahead and select that from the top. And you can send a message directly to our eQuote folks, or our current eQuote folks, who are going to be your SIPS Plus Spirit registration folks moving forward. You can just say, I accidentally, selected the wrong thing. And what they will do is they will actually change that to a rejected status. And once that status is updated to rejected, that allows you to hit the edit button that Sam was just showing you, update the information and resubmit it to the MLCC.
Do you want to go in and reject that transaction for me so that we can show them that?
Yeah, yep. I actually had I had a few that I had rejected earlier too. What is that transaction number?
132866.
That I can do, Sam.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I closed out my internal side. Otherwise, I would have done it.
No, I usually close mine out too because I don't like, I just want to make sure it's not going to do anything funky. Stamp, I'm just going to put some reasons in here.
And I'm assuming this would be the same process if like a price change was submitted incorrectly or anything like that as well.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
If you go out to your transactions, Sam, we can do this little piece now. From your drop down, if you select the list view that is rejected staff, this will be any transactions that have been rejected back from the MLCC that need review. And yours
We
is
would go ahead and, yeah, we would go ahead and select the transaction that is rejected and then select edit. I apologize, I did that out of order. And then change whatever we need to, and then hit submit. You would, before hitting submit, you would change it from rejected. Correct me if I'm wrong, Erica. You would change it from rejected to submitted
yeah, they can
or
change
to
that
draft,
there.
excuse me.
They can change it to submitted here and hit save, or they can save here. Usually from here, I just hit save and then I hit the submit for approval button at the top of the transaction. And then the attestation comes back up.
And now we're back into submitted.
There you go. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go back to our license, select the license number, and we're going to hit the drop down again and hit submit a request and select vendor change. Select the product that you'd like to do this on. So I'll just choose 168. Next. All right, and we'll scroll down. It pre-fills the information in for you. Click submit. So it's letting us know that the approval of this vendor change will result in the same vendor change on all products with the same COLA number. So we'll select OK. And it lists 2 products that have the same COLA number. It provides the liquor code and the brand name. If there's more than the page allows, you can go ahead and select next, and it will keep giving you more products. If you're okay with that, you'll attest the information is accurate and select submit for approval. And now that this transaction has been submitted to the MLCC for review. Any questions on the vendor change?
I have a quick suggestion question. Is there any way to do a mass upload? Because there are times when we have vendor changes, ADA changes, where doing that one at a time is very time consuming.
So right now we do not have the ability to do the mass update. The one thing that I will say is that, you know, it does change all of the, you know, so if you have like, so for example, Sam selected, you know, the one product, it will submit all of the bottle sizes, you know, for that one cola, which I don't think is a whole lot different. What we can do is we can go ahead and throw out in our suggestion box the ability to do a mass update for vendor changes, and then we'll actually say vendor ADA changes too, because that could probably apply. So at this time, we do not currently have that functionality, but that is a great idea. We'll go ahead and throw that out there for the suggestions that will be running by our finance team.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion.
Yeah, thank you. It looks like we have a question in the chat. Under what? Oh, it just disappeared for me.
I can get it, Sam. Under what circumstances would you have multiple products with one cola? Different bottle sizes is the first thing that comes to mind, and I really think is, you know, one of the only scenarios. That, and sometimes if you have like a VAP that you are registering, that could have the same cola number as well. You know, so if you have a product that has a 50 ml and 100 ml and a 350 and a 750, you would just need to select one of those to do the changes on that, and the other bottle sizes would follow.
Question.
There you go. There you go. Good. Yep. Let me see. I don't see any hands up.
All right.
All right. We're good. Great
We'll
question.
navigate back to our license screen. Select a license. choose the drop down, select submit a request, and go to the vendor name change. We'll go ahead and select next. It's going to provide you with the previous vendor name, and then you can type in, I guess, what you would like to change it to. So we'll just put test 2. And in the description, you can put anything that you feel that MLCC needs to know. For this, I'll just put test and select submit. You're going to test that the information is accurate and select submit for approval. And now you can see that that transaction has been submitted to the MLCC for review. Does anyone have any questions on the vendor name change transaction? All right. If no questions, I'm going to hand it over to you, Erica, for the transactions on the product screen.
Right. Thank you, Sam. Alrighty, I am going to steal Sam's screen here. So let me know when you guys can see my screen, which is going to look exactly the same as Sam's screen, except I'm back at the home page now.
I can see it.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so Sam covered the transactions that we are submitting at the license level. I'm going to go ahead and hit the rest of our transactions, and all of the rest of the transactions we are actually going to submit from the products. So I'm navigating to the product tab. I am going to update my list view here to active because I don't want to try to submit something, on, in a product that's not going to let me, do business with it because it's in a submitted status or a delisted status. So we're just going to grab these active codes. All right, so when I select the product, it is going to take me to the product detail page. I'm going to go ahead and use the button up at the upper right that says submit a transaction. And we're just going to walk through each one of these transactions the same way that Sam did. So I am going to select ADA change first. And it is going to pre-fill most of these boxes for me, letting me know what the previous ADA is. And it is going to give me an option of selecting another. One thing I do want to mention about these ADA changes is that there does have to be an active ADA contract on file between the vendor and the ADA. If there's not a contract out there, you just won't see the ADA. And that is very similar to what we are doing currently in the eQuote system. But I did just want to point out for this case, we do have this person attached to everybody, but that might not be the case for you guys. The effective date is going to go ahead and pre-fill with either the monthly or quarterly date that is available next. And again, we do have our description box so you can, correspond with MLCC if you want to. It is not a required field. And then we're going to go ahead and submit. We're going to attest that everything is accurate. And we do get a success message that this has successfully been submitted to the MLCC for review. Once an item is submitted, I am going to pop over to the transactions. You are able to use your list views here, to look at anything that has been submitted. So if you're wondering what you have out there submitted to the MLCC for review, you are able to navigate over to that transaction tab and take a look at anything that's been submitted. Or if you just want to verify whether that submission went through because you missed the pop-up box or something, you're able to do a check on that using that transaction tab. Any questions right now on the ADA change?
I may have missed something, but what is the difference between the ADA that we were just shown and this one?
So the first transaction that Sam showed you was
Mhm.
actually an ADA vendor change. So it was
Okay.
the transactions that's doing both of those.
Okay.
And so that is when you're actually pulling another product, from another vendor. So it's like you're
Okay.
going out there to any active product. So, yep. And this is
Okay.
just a normal ADA for something that you already have.
Okay.
I know you're like,
I'm,
stop
I'm like, did I
talking.
miss something? But that makes sense. Thank you.
No. It's good. Good questions. It's a lot of stuff to take in. So, the
Yeah,
only,
yeah, for sure.
the only ridiculous question is the one that we don't ask, right? So,
We have a lot more access, so compared to eQuote.
right. Is that a good thing? I mean, so in your opinion,
yeah.
is that a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah.
Oh, it's 100% good thing, I think.
Very, very good. That is kind of the feedback we've been getting from most of our users, is they do like the fact that they can see more. So that is really, really good. All right, so we are going to move then to the next transaction. So again, from the product, I'm going to use the button in the upper right-hand corner that says submit a transaction. And we're going to just go right down the list here. So we're going to do a brand name change. For the brand name change, it is going to pre-fill everything that it can. So one of the examples that we actually had for this is, I think I used this yesterday for anybody that was on that call. Sometimes, you guys want to add like your 10-year or 15-year, and it's something that, maybe you had character limitations or something before, you're wanting to clean up some things, that is one of the most common brand name changes that we hear from, is, people wanting to, just put a little personalization on there, throw the year out there. Is it a 10 year? Is it a 15-year? What do we got going on here? It is going to have you just verify what type of bottle you have, because we do put the PL on the end if it's a plastic bottle. So you're able to do that change here as well. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it the same. Effective dates are always going to pre-fill for you for the next available. And we're going to submit. Attest that the information is good. And we'll send that over to Rihanna and team for review. Any questions on brand name change? Moving along. Gonna get to the fun ones now. Okay. I'll go back up to, we're going to move on to the case cost change. So again, from the product, we're hitting that button to submit a transaction. We're going to select the case cost change. It's going to pre-populate all of the information for us into this page. One thing that I do want to call out for you is you are going to start to see, another transaction type, a case cost, case size change. We did create another transaction type for you so that if you're doing a case cost change and you're also doing a case size change, you can do that all on one transaction, a case cost, case size change. And that way you don't have to do that separately. So currently I do believe that those are two separate things. And we have merged them into one, but also offer both of those separately. So we're going to go ahead and submit just the case cost change here. But you do see, up on the top, I'm pointing it out because you will see this referenced, some places, because we do need to consider both sometimes when we're looking at different things behind the scenes. So we're going to go ahead and just update this. For our MDARD qualified folks, if you do want to utilize pricing, we have our indicator here to go ahead and allow you to do that. And effective date, again, always pre-populates with the next available. So we're going to go ahead and save that. It's going to let us know that there are no other case cost changes or case cost and case size changes available for this product. What this means is you are only allowed to submit one per effective date. And if you had already submitted a case cost change or a case cost, case size change, what we would do is we would actually supersede the first transaction with whatever you submitted now. And for us, it just makes sure that we have clean data in the system when we start looking at those cost changes. So for this particular circumstance, there is not anything else in the system. So we're going to go ahead and just verify that that is good, and we will submit that. So similar to what Sam was seeing before, this is letting you know that this product here is also linked to these other products. So we have two VAT products that contain this product that we have submitted the case cost on, and we also have a multi-pack out there. So it is letting you know that this product is linked to these other items. And so we are going to have to do something to these items as well because we've modified the cost. So I know you guys are all familiar with, a lot of the pricing guidelines that we have. If you're increasing the price of your base product, we call it a base product because it is the base in something else that is registered with us. We are going to have to do modifications to those as well. So it's going to give us the list of linked products, and then it's going to give you an option of what you would like to do with those products. So it'll give you the liquor code and it will say, do you want to just leave it? If you leave it, it will go under review for our staff, and they will just do a verification that the pricing doesn't need to be modified. You're able to delete the item, do a case cost change, do a case cost and case size change. So you do need to pick one of these. If you pick delete item, it'll actually create a delete item draft for you. If you create the case cost change, it's going to go ahead and create a case cost change for you. So it's saying we have created a draft for you. So it's just giving you a heads up. Here's your transactions. You are going to have to go back in and do some work on those. So your primary transaction has now been submitted, but you do need to go back out and just review those items. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to go back out to our transactions. And I'm going to look for the ones that are like in a draft status that have not been submitted. So I can see that these two are out here. These are the ones that were created for me on my behalf. We're going to go ahead and jump into each one of those. So this is the one that we decided we wanted to also do a case cost change on. As you can see, there is, it has not filled in a new case cost yet because you do have to determine that. So what you're going to want to do is hit edit. Put your case cost in, and you will want to make sure that that is in line with the other. And you'll go ahead and hit save. And then you're going to submit that to the MLCC. We'll go back and let's take care of that other one too. So we'll just, again, we're looking for the draft that was created. We're going to go ahead and select that. We're going to edit here. We had requested to delete this. So if we do want to do anything different, we would want to fill in the new cost, but we aren't going to do anything with the new cost because we do not want to update that. So if you had changed your mind, you can go ahead and, and look at that. We're going to go ahead and save that because we've reviewed it, and we'll submit that over to MLCC. So this allows you to, by creating these transactions in a draft status for you, it pre-fills and creates the transaction. So all you would need to do as a vendor is just go out there and verify that the information is correct, or put the correct pricing on those other items that need to be updated and submit those out to MLCC. And then for us, it's a benefit for us because those transactions are, we're bringing those to your attention. So if, it wasn't on your radar to have to go out and do that, we're just trying to make sure that none of those transactions are being missed, for the items that are linked to that, and that we stay, appropriately aligned as far as the cost is concerned. I think that was a lot. So are there any questions on, how that works as far as, submitting the case cost change on its own, but then also what happens when that product is part of another registered product? And I did see a couple folks come off mute, so.
I have a quick question, Erica.
Yeah.
So our pricing team on the Diageo side is located overseas, and sometimes they have issues getting access to different state portals because of that. Do you know if that's been tested? Like if these transactions can be done on VPNs that are in India?
I will have to look and verify because even I know that we've had some issues with overseas as far as our DTMB security, which is outside of MLCC. So Sam, can you grab that? And Nicole, what I will do is I'll go ahead and run that through the security team and just ask them if that is something that through my login is being, monitored and blocked.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that'd be great. Just to confirm that before this
Yes,
launches in
absolutely.
November. Yeah.
Absolutely. I do know that we did have some issues with some stuff overseas, and it was, it was a DTMB security thing, that was outside of MLCC, but I will double check and verify, what that policy is so I can get that sent out to you, Nicole.
Okay, thanks so much. And then also, going off that, like with logins, are the logins the same to access this portal, or do we all get new logins?
So we did migrate the information for our users as long as you are a vendor rep. So our vendor reps will still maintain that same authority. We do have the ability for those folks to go ahead and add sub users and also contact users. We did do a training session on that a couple days ago that's out there on the website. Do you want to go ahead and take a gander at that video and then ping me if you have questions? Because we are required to go through my login. So any new state product or projects that are going live now, that software has to go through, like access to the software for external users goes through our my login system. So we did send an invitation out to folks to pre-register or, get themselves signed up for the my login portal and then link themselves to Ames, because on November 3rd, when we flip that switch, what you'll see is you select Ames in the system and you will see the registration tab pop up. So you would just select that and be navigated to your homepage. So the invitation for the My Login piece is out there. We've had several folks already register themselves within My Login and get linked up to Ames. So they're all ready to go on November 3rd. But that video does walk you through not just the My Login piece, but kind of how that whole user setup is going to be a little bit different in the new system. But yes, you will not have to wait. Vendor reps will not have to wait to access those licenses as soon as we go live.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to watch that, but I do have the link, so
Oh.
I will watch that after this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
and if there's
sorry,
any questions at all, like, reach out to us, and let us know if you have any questions, on that video or any of the information that's out there.
will do. Thank you both. And then, sorry, my last question on pricing is just, are the deadlines going to remain the same? Like February, March, and April are sort of locked, and then we have the chance to update again for May, June, July. Is that staying
Yeah.
consistent?
Yep,
Okay.
the bulletins will stay the same. There were some modifications that they did to effective dates to be the first Sunday, I believe, of the month. But Pam and team have updated the bulletins for the next year as far as the effective dates and deadline dates are concerned. So none of that is going to be changing here.
Okay,
Anything that you're doing on a quarterly basis will still stay quarterly. Anything that you're doing on a monthly basis will still stay monthly as well.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great questions. All right. Okay. We'll go ahead then and move along to the case size change. So I'm again back into a specific product. We're going to go ahead and hit submit a transaction. And this is why I suggest that we change our view to active. Otherwise, you will get a message that says you cannot do business on something that is just in a submitted status. So sorry about that, folks. All right. So next, we're going to go ahead and do the case size change. Alrighty, so for the case size change, it is going to go ahead and require that we just drop in a new case size, a new case weight, cases per pallet, and cases per tier. It is going to go ahead and pre-fill that effective date for us. And we will just go ahead and hit submit. And I can see that this transaction is now in a submitted status and off to our MLCC team. Questions on just that case size change? Alrighty. We are going to move on to a deleted item. We're going to hit submit a transaction. So in the event that you do want to go ahead and request that your item is deleted, you would just go ahead, select delete item. It pre-fills your product name and liquor code for you. a comment area. So you can put anything that you need to send to the MLCC in that box there. Pre-fills the effective date for you. It is letting you know that there is no data available here. So in this next box, it would let you know if this item that you were deleting was part of any other product within the state. We would just go ahead and let you know. And then you would have a very similar, process moving forward. If you delete something that is part of, say, a multi-pack or it's part of a VAP, it would automatically impact those downstream, because we need to make sure that, we're not deleting something that is part of another product. For this example, there are no other items that contain this. So we're just going to say, yes, we want to move forward. Now, what you'll notice here is that for the delete items, they are on an auto approved, they are an auto approved transaction status. So your current status does not say submitted, it says approved. So if there is something, I know there was a question earlier, if, you submitted something and, had decided that you did not want that to be submitted any longer, you could go ahead and use that email functionality to go ahead and send correspondence back to MLCC. Any questions on the deleted items? Okay. Easy crowd today. Easy crowd. Okay, you guys are always an easy crowd.
I have another question, actually. Sorry.
Sure.
So normally the way it works now is we'll get an email through, I guess it's generated through the portal on whether our
Yes.
request was approved or denied or et cetera. Is that still going to be the case?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you still have access here, a lot of access to see any products and any status that they're in, transactions and any status that those are in. But that email notification system has not gone away. When you submit a transaction, it is going to go ahead and send out correspondence to say it was submitted. When it is approved, it will send you an item to say, hey, this was approved. So the notifications that you're currently getting are not going to stop coming. They'll keep coming the same way as they do now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you do have this case cost verification associated item. That is not something that you guys can submit on your own. That is how we reference those, we will call them children as well, like those child test cases that were created in a draft status. So if you try to select this, it's actually not going to allow you to submit anything. It'll give you an error message. We're going to move to label change. All righty. Label changes do require a new COLA. Let's grab a new one here. We're going to go ahead, throw that new COLA number in. It's going to pre-populate that effective date. Send a message to our amazing team. And there is typically a TTB integration that takes place for any new COLAs, and so I'm guessing that that is the slowness here. So we should take a moment now to say, sometimes we do in the test environment experience some slowness that we don't normally experience in our production environments as well. And that is because we do typically have more dedicated servers in our production environment than we do in a test environment. So where we're seeing some of these items, periodically take a little bit longer, we don't anticipate that that is going to be the case moving forward. So our load testing has not shown that that would be expected. So it does run a validation through the TTB integration to make sure that that new, that new item does actually, have a valid TTB approval. So we'll go ahead and hit next. It is going to ask us to upload a label image because we are doing a label image. So we are going to go ahead and say we're going to put a label image here. From our label image box, you can either drag and drop right onto this square, or we can upload a file from our file explorer. And once you get the checkbox that everything has been loaded good, we'll go ahead and select done. And next. It's going to give us a validation that everything uploaded successfully as far as that label image is concerned. And we'll go ahead and submit that transaction. So it's going to also just give us another message. Approval of the label change will result in the same label change on all other products with the same COLA number. And then it gives you the COLA number so that, just creating some awareness that, some of these changes are also going to trickle down to anything else that is associated with that. And it's going to tell you the other products that we have in the system with the same number. And at that point, it's just going to ask you to validate that, yes, you do want to go ahead and change everything with that COLA number. And you are submitted successfully to the MLCC. All right. Questions on label change? Okay. The next transaction that we are going to take a look at is the pallet weight change. This is an item that I do believe is currently separated in the existing eQuote system. We have consolidated this into one transaction type moving forward. So we'll go ahead and put in the new information. Effective date is always going to pre-fill for us. We'll submit for approval. If you are in a product like this, and you need to keep something the same, just go ahead and enter the same, so if it's just a pallet change or if it's just a weight change, you just need to update your current information. So if it is the same because you're only changing one, you would just go ahead and enter the same value into that other box. And then this one again is an auto approval. So you'll notice that the current status at the top does indicate that this already has been approved. Questions on the pallet weight change? Okay.
And you have multiple requests out on the same item, like if you wanted a palette change, but then also a price change for the same time period?
There you can submit those. The one thing that I will say is that if you have a transaction in the system that is going to delete the existing item, your others items will get rejected. So if you throw changes out there, and then you also have like say a deleted item out there as well as a result of something else that you've done. So like a major proof change will that will create a new transaction. So you will want to just be careful that when you are submitting more than one item for your product, that if that transaction results in a deletion of that code, the rest of those changes will get denied or by the commission because there is another item out there that is going to delete the item. So you'll just want to be conscientious of those types of changes. And you won't want to, you will not want to put those types of changes together.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go ahead and do a liquor type change. So we're submitting a transaction. We're selecting liquor type change. It pre-fills our existing information, gives us a drop down to select anything else that we want to do here. And submit. And we are now submitted out there to the MLCC. All right. Any questions on liquor type change? All right. So we are going to move into the proof change. For you guys, the proof change does look a little bit different. Um, I know right now, I do believe that you have two options. You have proof change, like a major proof change, and then your normal proof change that is a minor proof change. Um, we do have one transaction type for the proof change now. And your workflow will just look a little bit different in the event that it is a major proof change that requires, you know, that item to be delisted and a new product to be created. So that's great. Let's grab the right kind of product. Sorry about that. All right. So you're going to go ahead and hit proof change. The next screen is going to ask you to put the new proof in. So we will go ahead and do a proof change first. That is, you know, a lower proof change that does not require that the MLCC delist the existing code. So we'll go ahead and do that one first. Pretty easy peasy. You know, it is simply just going to update that proof, and we're going to go ahead and submit that transaction. So this was our, you know, our lower proof. There is no requirement to delist anything or create a new anything. So the system just goes ahead and submits that. Now we'll go ahead and let's do the same thing. And this time we're going to go ahead and do a major proof change. So we're going to go ahead and go up above that threshold. So it's going to let us know that the proof change that we have entered is a major proof change. Submitting this transaction is going to result in this code being delisted on the effective date and a new product being created upon the approval of this transaction. So at this point, you can either acknowledge or you can go back and you can make a change to that proof if you need to. So we're going to go ahead and say okay. Major proof changes do require that we have a new COLA. So we're going to go ahead and enter a new COLA in here. We're going to watch the system spin while it does its TTB thing. You can do it. Okay. So it's going to, again, pull in the information from the TTB. And I do realize that these are different because they are test COLAs, but it does go ahead, do that same validation through the TTB. It is going to ask us to upload another image. And our image uploaded successfully, so we love that. Submitting this item will also impact this other item, so it's going to just let us know, hey, you're doing this major proof change. This is related to that same COLA. Do you want to continue? And we do. So we are successfully submitted to the MLCC for review. So I'm so sure you guys are starting to notice, some of the themes as far as, just making sure that we're notifying our, vendors if there's other items out there that are impacted. The workflows are pretty similar. Any questions so far on, what we've got for the proof changes? All right. We'll go ahead. And we're going to go ahead and do the G10 UPC change. And this is not a field that is required by the MLCC, but we do know that it is helpful for some folks. And some of our vendors do like to provide that. Again, pre-fills that effective date, description if you need one. And we're going to go ahead and submit that. And this is an auto approval as well. So no review needed by MLCC. It does just get auto approved. And we are good. Any questions on the G10? Okay. So our brand name with label change is going to look very similar to that label change. Going to give us the option of changing to regular or plastic if we want to do that. Include here. It does require that we put in a new COLA number. And none of this has changed from what you guys should be expecting from a process standpoint. We're going to go ahead and just let that run. Okay. Take here if we need to. And label changes do always require that new label change. We'll upload that. It's good. And just another message, just letting us know all of those COLAs will be impacted. And this is our list of those COLAs. So we're going to say, yep, we want to go ahead and do that. And we are all submitted. All right. Any questions that you guys have on the brand name with label change? All right, perfect. So the last one that we want to go ahead and here, I'll try to find the same one that I did this other on. We're going to go ahead and show you guys the case cost and case size change. So in the event that you do need to do both of those things at one time, you are able to submit one transaction for that. And it's going to ask us to go ahead and input a new cost. The other information that we need. Does the calculating for us. MDARD, if applicable, can be selected here. And it does go ahead and pre-fill that next effective date for us. So we're going to save this. We're going to attest that that is accurate. It is going to let us know that there are items out there that are also going to be impacted. So we are going to hit continue. And it's going to give us that the same option, you know. So if we wanted to do the same thing for both of those, I guess continue. It is going to let us know that it has created 2 transactions, you know, so that we can go ahead and get those aligned. And that same pop-up message that we received when we did that last cost change, just wanting to make sure that all of the costs across the board are aligned. So this is submitted out to the MLCC. You would again need to go back to your transactions, look for those draft items, and you can go ahead and, you know, resubmit those or edit those and submit those to the MLCC. There was one other thing that I did want to cover if we don't have any questions with the case cost and case size changes. Any questions on that particular item? And so moving forward, if you had a product that you know, wanted to do both of those on, you would just pick that one transaction that covered both of those areas. And you'd be able to submit those at the same time. Awesome. Very good. I did want to take a look at those rejected transactions really quick. I know we did look at those with Sam as well. In the event that something is rejected by MLCC, you are able to adjust your list view to rejected, you know, so that you can see anything out there, you know, that is sitting in a rejected status. You would just need to access that transaction by clicking the transaction number. Items in a rejected status, they do allow you to edit them. So, you know, you'd be able to get in here and edit, you know, what needs to be edited. Typically down here, you would have a rejection reason, and I did just throw in, please resubmit. You know, but normally here you would have a message from staff saying, you know, this is what we need you to do in order to make that right. So then you could go up, edit anything that needs to be edited. And then you would just go ahead and submit that for approval back to the MLCC. So if you have items that are coming back as rejected, I wanted to make sure that you guys knew where those were. In the same time and token, if you were looking for, you know, anything that was out there in a denied status, you would actually be able to select that denied, and you could see anything that was in a denied status as well. You know, so if you're trying to track transactions that you have, you're going to see a lot of items out there in an approved status. Once we go through the effective date, like on the effective date itself, you will see some of those items change to like a closed approved. You know, but this does give you a way to filter by status to see, you know, manage your things. If you have things that are denied and you want to reach out and try to understand, or if you're not expecting something to be denied, if you are looking to make sure that nothing is rejected before the effective date deadline is, you know, passing, you're going to want to go ahead and just use the list view to view those, you know, transactions and what status they're in. And we've done a lot of things today. Any questions that you guys have right now on how to submit transactions through? So we've covered, you know, the transactions that you would submit directly from that license screen. So Sam went ahead and showed you the submit a request items here. And then we went ahead and, you know, went through all of the different transaction types that you would submit directly through those product screens as well. Is there anything else that you guys can think of in regards to the transactions that you would be submitting through the system that you have questions on or suggestions on? Any feedback that you want us to know?
I have a few questions, but I'm
Okay.
not sure if it's really relating to control, uh, request or control submissions. But
Okay.
is the open side, so like open registration, is that in here somewhere? Or is
You
that
were
staying,
when you refer to like
for the
open
low
regist,
proof? Yeah, low proof.
so you mean items that are like auto approval?
No, like wine and malt, the low proof, that we aren't submitting through eQuote, we're submitting through,
PR?
can't think of it. I'm
It's our
sorry.
MWPR. It's the
Yeah,
MWPR system.
yeah, yes.
So yes, it will be. So for you guys, the training for that portion of the system is going to take place next week. Um,
Okay.
and you will actually see a few additional things going on, as far as like, different tabs that are available to you.
Okay.
And when we talk about some of like our list views here, where we're saying, like if you happen to have non-spirit items that you're working with,
Mhm.
we've got the list views here from the licenses so that
Okay.
that you kind of know where you're working through. But yes, that will also be in this registration system. So, we have consolidated both sides of the registration system, and then we
Okay.
just control access based on what license types you have.
Okay, but we'll get invites to the training next week for that portion.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then are how we can go out and look at the Laura website to see what is listed? Is that still going to be available?
Yes. Yep. That is actually moving to the public portal. And we
Okay.
will be having a session on the public portal as well.
Okay.
I know,
And
right?
and then where do we pull a vendor report?
For
You know
and
how you know how in eQuote we can just click that button and then a list of all of our products comes up. Is there going to be a way to export that information from here, like kind of like that? Because I use that quite frequently.
so I would do that from here. And you would just want to go ahead and do whatever, if it's just the active
Okay.
items that you're looking for, or if it's
Okay.
everything. And then what you would do from that point is,
Uh-huh.
oh, you can switch it to a printable view if you want it like this.
Okay.
If you don't want it like that, I'm trying to remember where. Oh, Sam, help me out here.
I'm not
I
sure
feel
it's
like you,
available on that page, Erica, but I think that's why we had printable view.
right, right.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure though that you can also go out to, yeah, we'll take a look and see. But yes, that is where you would get that normal report out there.
Okay. I
Um,
use that quite frequently. So,
okay, okay,
um, and then one other thing that has to do with licensing and like renewal,
okay.
is that going to be a part of this, or will we still be using, um, I think it was already Ames, but is it
Yes.
still, it's still going to be the way that it was prior to
Mhm.
SIPS? Okay.
So what you'll
And then I
notice
had,
though from the home screen here, I do want to show you this because this is pretty nifty. Like it is a
okay.
different portal. We
Okay.
have a link here to the other half of the system.
Okay.
Oh, you do not have. So this user actually isn't linked. So this would actually take you over to that renewal portal. And if you're
Okay.
on the renewal portal, you'll have a similar link that shows up in the over in that little bar for you. And then you can click that link to come over to the registration side. And you do have to have the appropriate access set up
Okay.
to get there. But yeah, we do have the link back and forth because it is the same back end of the system. It's just two
Okay.
different functional portals.
Okay. And then another suggestion is solicitor permits. If there was a way to do that online, that would be awesome.
Okay, so solicitor permits. Let's go
Because
here.
I have several, and I feel like it would be a lot easier to manage if it was in one spot versus mailing and waiting for things to be mailed back and that kind of
Okay.
thing.
And are you talking about like your salespeople?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. You say solicitor, and I'm thinking she's saying salesperson license.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes.
Sales.
Nope, nope, that's
Our
good.
sales, our sales permits, it would be wonderful if there was a way to manage it um in this portal along with the um our license renewals or whatever, if there was a way to just handle everything in there, make payments in there and all that kind of stuff.
Will go. I know that there is, yes, absolutely, some opportunity that we have to move some more things out online. And I do know over the next couple of years, we do plan on doing that. I don't have a timeline for you, but I am going to add this to the suggestions because it just kind of supports, that we have a need for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Good suggestions. Good suggestions.
So sort of on that same line, is this eventually going to support filing our monthly reports for spirits and paying our taxes and so on? Or is that still going to be in paper?
So like you mean like your beer and wine taxes?
Well, the spirits too. Monthly we do the spirits, quarterly we do beer and wine. Send
Those are the
paper
reports that you send out to Sandy. Like Sandy gets some of those, and like, yes, so your
So,
excise.
I mean, I was told
right?
several years ago that, eventually this would be all electronic instead of just sending out paper every month along with paper checks. Is this eventually going to support filing those sort of reports too, or?
We do have that on our list of opportunities for enhancements here. So yes, we do know that those taxes are, they are one of the last things that are strictly done by paper. So there is a huge opportunity there. So it is on our radar, to move things that are currently being done via paper out to the portal as well. So again, we don't have a time frame of completion or anything for that, but I'm going to throw that out here on our suggestions as well, because again, it does support, those efforts that we know folks are really wanting. So those online tax payments, in addition to like, the ability to submit applications and things online, those are things that are highly sought after. So I don't have an ETA for you on that, but I will tell you that has been part of discussions that we've had internally about, making that process a little better and smoother and online and, bringing that into the century as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Good suggestions.
Erica, if you select the Spirit dashboard.
Right now, well, it wasn't pulling in for me before, Sam, because it was test data or because we are in the test environment.
Well, when we're not in the test environment, you can click that Spirit Products Registration, view report down at the bottom of it. And then you can export from here.
Nice. Very good. And it did actually pull some
to remember. I apologize.
No, that's fine. That is fine. I know that some of these were not working before, because the test environment wasn't spinning up the way that it was, but it does look like we actually have some of this data here. So yeah, there will be some reports out there available here as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Sam.
Does anybody have any other questions? Got a lot of good feedback today.
Oh yeah, it's great. I like to hear what everybody's thinking. And okay. Alrighty. Well, then we will be in touch over the next couple of weeks. And again, I know we keep, throwing the website at you guys, but if you've got any items or any questions, send them to us or head out to there, see if there's any updates going on. And yeah, we will be here if you guys need support for anything. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you too,
See you
guys.
as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.